Thank you, Madam Chairman. So a gentleman spoke here tonight, and I think it's Jonathan Grande. I hope I got it right. First, I want to say thank you to all the teachers who came here this evening. Very much appreciate everything that our teachers do and all the hard work that they do and the love that they show our kids and the passion that they have for their profession, and just wholeheartedly respect our teachers, and we're so very thankful, and we are privileged to have the teachers that we do have in this great town that we live in. So going back to Jonathan here, because he touched on something that's very close to me, and that is talking about manufacturing, and you're mentioning turnbacks and escapes and things like that. So I come from an aerospace manufacturing background, and to prevent aircraft from falling out of the sky, all of us fly and we want to be safe, we cannot afford mistakes. And so anytime a mistake happens, all that, albeit a plane coming down or a part on a plane breaking, immediately there's something done called, and he touched on it, it's called a RCCA, a root cause corrective action process. Okay? This is where we find out how what happened, and many times it's not as obvious as you think. And I could give you multiple examples of that, but the reality is what appears to be the cause of something is not always really what the root cause of that is. So it's important to go back and determine what the root cause is. And then once you find out the root cause, then you put into place procedures and safeguards from preventing it from happening again. Now, I remember, I guess it was back in late October, when there was a lesson that came out. It was a wheel-shaped thing, a social justice kind of lesson that many parents found to be objectionable. And many of them complained to the superintendent. And at the next board meeting, I recall that the superintendent addressed that. He addressed that lesson specifically. And I'm going to kind of summarize what he said, because I found it to be somewhat concerning, okay? Concerning to me and to all the members of this board, I'm sure, which is essentially, I'm going to summarize this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I got out of it was, it's not my fault, board, it's your fault, because you're the ones who control policy, you're the ones who are responsible for this, and basically we tried to take it to policy and see, well, what could we do in policy to try to make it better? So now this pizza thing comes out, and
Madam Chair, I did not say that, so
I was summarizing, but in
essence, I would summarize it more. I never said it's not my fault, it's your fault. So I just want to make sure that's noted in the record.
Please be quiet in the audience, please. We were quiet when you guys spoke.
Okay. And I don't mean that that's something wrong to say. It's just I thought that's how you framed it. And if I'm incorrect, I'll go back and rewatch it, and then we can discuss it again. So with that said, then all of a sudden now, the first thing comes out and it's oops, and then now the pizza thing comes out, and it's again, how did this happen? And what can we do to prevent it from happening again? Okay. Now, I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm saying that there's parents that are upset, and these escapes, these releases, have caused a great deal of concern, a great deal of parental concern, obviously. In the wake of this, there's been then kids who have, felt uncomfortable. I heard where, kids were staring at their plates at dinner time, saying that they were uncomfortable about the lessons that they had received from school. I understood that there were teachers who presented these lessons that were uncomfortable with that. So what can we do? What can we do as a board, this board here, to get to the root cause? Examine the process, get to the root cause, and then see what we can do to implement corrective actions so that these kinds of escapes don't happen again without parental consent or knowledge of parents of what's going to be taught to their kids. And that we do have a policy in the bylaws of the board for the formation of special committees, temporary committees, and ad hoc committees. So, Madam Chairman, I am calling upon you and this board that we form a special committee, essentially I'm going to call it a parental task force, okay? A committee that will include, and it will be a bipartisan committee, okay? That will include parents, that will include members of this board as liaisons. That could include the assistant superintendent, a policy director, a curriculum director, and then get to the root cause, find out how this is happening, and what can we do to prevent it from happening again, and put procedures in place so that people can be made aware of lessons like this, perhaps like this again, that may come out, and it will be no surprise. And I know that there are permission sheets that are given out many times on particular lessons that parents must sign to say, okay, I will allow my student to partake in this particular lesson. So we could, as a board, do that out of consideration for the many, many parents that spoke here and who are concerned about the well-being of their kids and the quality of education that they're receiving in this good town. I think we as a board would be very responsible in consideration of them informing a committee that would include them, because this is the Enfield Public Schools. It's not the Enfield Government Schools. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that committee. I'd like to see that committee include these parents, include the board, include some of our administration, and let's get to the root cause. Thank you.